Okay, we start, well, hold on. The last like 3 meetings or whatever, I have not introduced myself. And I realize this after the fact every single time, and it drives me nuts. So my name is Jonathan Bruns. I've lived in this neighborhood for 2 years. Yeah, thank you. And remind me when I don't do that. It's silly. I've lived in this neighborhood for 2 years. I've lived the bulk of my life in the avenues. I went to West High. I went to the University of Utah. I've been around town, but I like this neighborhood probably the best. So it's a little bit about me. We like to start with our mission and vision. We envision a Capitol Hill where all people feel a sense of value and belonging and are empowered to contribute to the civic life and well-being of the community. Our mission is to strengthen the community by educating, engaging, and uniting residents through inclusive dialogue and programs that improve the quality of life in the neighborhood and in the broader community. The next couple slides you've been watching, but I'll just breeze through them. You're a member if you live within our boundaries. These are public meetings. We do record them. We do post them online. Please take the attendance. That's the QR code. We'd love to know a little bit more about who takes or who comes to these. Question, answer, discussion. These are more formal rules for when we need to make formal decisions. Most of our meetings are like more informal and information, but then opportunity to interact. We like to debate with dignity. If you don't know what the Dignity Index is, this is what it is. Please stay high and meet your adversaries on higher ground. Please get involved. We have committees. We're also seeking board members. There is going to be a special election tonight about that, which I alluded to, but is now on this slide. Of note, last meeting, we, as a council, passed a couple of directives to look into the Grand Liberty Arch Monument. So I'll report on that very briefly. One of those directives, and Sammy, you're free to join me or correct me on Mike. One of those directives was to put in a formal complaint to the Attorney General's office, alleging that the Open Public Meetings Act was perhaps violated in the May 6th Capitol Preservation Board meeting in which they approved the Grand Liberty Arch Monument. They wrote back about 4 hours later saying that that was not the case. So that is how that went. Sam, if you want to give just a brief intro, there was a meeting this week.
Sure. Hi, everyone. I'm Samuel. I'm the chair of the Transportation, Infrastructure, and Planning Committee, and I am helping to lead the execution of the actions that were adopted by the Community Council at our last meeting in June with regards to the Grand Liberty Arch Monument. So there were a number, for those of you who were there were a number of actions that were adopted by the Community Council, including submitting formal complaint to Capitol Preservation Board, submitting a grant request for documents related to this project, a few other things as well. So we have convened a group of volunteers. We had our first meeting just a couple of days ago on Monday in order to execute on those actions. We kind of divvied up those actions with the intent to get them all done as soon as possible, especially the formal complaint to Capitol Preservation Board, because that's kind of the next step after submitting that request for review to the Attorney General. We think it's kind of moving things along to figure out how we might be able to insert more public participation in the process. That's our ultimate goal, because there are lots of feelings from the public, but they've had very little opportunity to actually meaningfully affect what's happening. Yep, so that is in the works. And if you are interested in participating in that work, we will not turn you down. We love having more volunteers. Many hands make light work, as they say. Appreciate your consideration of helping with that if you have the bandwidth to do so. Also, toward the end of the meeting, I'll be sharing a link to information about this. If this is news to you, like, I don't know what GLAM is, we'll circle back. Don't worry.
Thank you so much, Samuel. And then we had 2 board members retire this last couple of months, and Metcalf and Scott Polai. We really appreciate all the work that they've done. Scott, I think, served for us 3 years in varying capacities. I wasn't around for a lot of it, but Gwen knows a lot about that too. So just want to recognize them. Okay. So we're gonna jump through our announcements really quick. If you haven't heard of Marmalade Jam Fest, boy, you're in for a treat. Here it is. It is going to be, I was going to say the date of it, but it's not in front of me. I think it's the 26th of September.
Yeah.
You should go to the website via this link. It'll like live appear as Sam edits the website live, but you can apply as a vendor. You can sign up to volunteer. We need a lot of help with this event. It is huge, and we'd like to make it epic. And as such, it requires a lot of time and effort. So please get involved. You didn't make it. We use the Film Center's boardroom for our board meetings. We love them. They also just like have an air-conditioned space that you can go watch a movie in. So you should do that. They have an event basically every day. The U of U reached out to me earlier this week. They're doing a wildfire survey. There we go. Because it's top of mind a little bit. So they're looking for people to fill out their QR code and survey. This will be posted on the notes and it'll be posted on the website. But they want to better understand how people think about wildfires, especially living close to the foothills like we do. Yes, sorry, I'm gonna get a bigger one. I mean, maybe it was bigger, folks. There we go. Gosh. Is it big enough? Yes. Okay. All good. And then in a related fashion, District 3 is holding a wildland fire town hall meeting on the 20th at Elias Hospital. All of these things will be available on the website and all that stuff. Just like to make sure that people are apprised if there are things that are happening in their neighborhood. And then lastly, this Friday, hoppers. And I mean, in the day of Canva and all that, it's great to see some truly crazy art still, instead of just like that polished AI, like whatever. Love it. Okay, we're gonna jump to Ashley Anderson. If you can give your update now so you can see down and watch swimmers swim.
Thank you. As Jonathan said, I'm trying to go to a swim meet, but I'm always happy to join Capitol Hill for an update. For people who I may not have met, my name is Ashley Anderson. I represent you on the Salt Lake City School District's Board of Education. So the schools in this area that I represent include Washington Elementary and West High. I wanted to share that next month, right before you meet, school will begin. It's hard to believe that we're getting to the 1 month mark before kids go back to school on August 18th. You've probably still seen kids out and about when you're commuting. There's cross-country teams that are running in the area for West. There's still kids that come to Washington for school meals. But between now and August 18th, you're going to see a huge influx of students, especially those going to West. So please use a lot of care when you're commuting and look out for our pedestrians. Speaking of West, walls are going to be going up in the next couple of weeks. So you're going to see a lot more action over at the West High construction site. It's obviously very exciting for voters who voted for the bond to start to see that project come together. But it's also exciting for us to look ahead at what will be, a long rebuild project, but an exciting step towards students being in a brand new building. So if you do encounter any problems with construction, I know there are some residents on the side of construction who noted things like broken sprinklers, things like that. They were able to reach out to me, but there's also a contact button on the bond construction website on slcschools.org. I can share that with your board so they can consider including it in an email. but there's really quick turnaround from things like that. So if there are construction emergencies you notice, big things that need immediate repair or attention, please feel free to reach out. One other thing. Four elementary schools were voted to be closed in recent years, and we're looking ahead to potential recommendations of more schools. Part of the reason for that is as enrollment declines, if there aren't enough students in a building, the amount of adults who staff that building goes down. So when we consolidate things like small elementary schools, we actually make class sizes smaller and pay more adults to be in the building. So instead of making our schools just like bigger writ large, it's kind of a strategy to make sure kids have the resources they need to have a really successful education. The reason I bring that up to you is the article flagged Washington as one school that's really under capacity. But I want to be clear that no study has been initiated of Washington, and it meets one of the criteria for potential study of closure, but all of those recommendations won't come from the superintendent until next fall. So if you had opinions about Washington Elementary or things you're thinking about looking at stable enrollment or school closure, I'd encourage you to reach out to me, but it shouldn't be like a panic button situation. There's going to be a long time, but closure will be something that we're looking at. So I want to talk about Washington. I want to talk about the walls at West and the start of school. That is pretty much what I have, but are there any other questions from the community about what's going on in our public schools? Yeah, go ahead.
I'm just curious, and by the way, let me say first, we really, really appreciate your work on, thank you, your work on the school board.
Thank you, Glenn.
Thanks for all you've done over the few years you've been doing it, and I know you made a significant contribution, so
Thank you.
thank you. My question was, the school across, I forgot what it was called, but the elementary school was closed a year or two ago, just across the freeway from us. What's happening with that land in that building?
That's a really good question. So Glenn is talking about Mary W. Jackson, which is an elementary school in the Fair Park, Rose Park area, which is one of the 4 schools that closed. So that building is being studied for a variety of uses. There's a firm that's doing a feasibility study on all 4 buildings and a real estate analysis on those buildings. Mary W. Jackson was in a unique position because of the freeway expansion. Also, we sort of thought for a time that the freeway expansion would impact like literally the site of that building. Because that's not the case, there's a variety of interests. One thing that we've talked about with some partners at the county and need to also talk about with partners at the city if it was to be feasible. We know that the county had to close childcare centers at Northwest Rec Center, which is really proximal to Mary W. Jackson. And a lot of people on our school board, myself included, have talked about the need for early childhood education to increase and childcare to increase as also a long-term strategy to grow our enrollment. So I can't say that that's what will happen with Mary W. Jackson, but it's something we're talking about. We're also finding out, the value of the land, the value of the building, the kind of the end of useful life of the building, as some of the buildings that were closed were older. And if you do have potential uses for the building, I'd encourage you to send an email to me and let me know what you're thinking about.
Being sold off and by the school, what's up like?
So Glenn asked if there's on Zoom, right? So people who couldn't hear on the microphone.
Sorry.
Oh, maybe on Zoom.
Right.
Yeah. He wants to know, would it be sold? Selling is one option. School boards are often counseled out of selling land. And one reason is land is one of the only like liquid assets that school districts have. And once it's gone, it's gone. A good example would be the school that currently houses Roland Hills High School used to be one of our district middle schools. That we never get that back. Land that was traded up at East High, with other properties, also at the U and Roland Hall, we don't get that land back. And so one strategy used by Granite District to the south of us is to work with the county to turn spaces into parks. So you don't have the operating costs of a building, but you're also not sacrificing this one long-term asset you have for school kids where you may need to build in the future. So that could happen, but that's something that we would consider really, really careful. Any other questions about public school? Okay, great. I'm happy to pass the mic to the next person. Thank you so much.
I think fire departments would like to go next.
Yeah, lovely. Hello, everybody. Thanks for having us. My name is Seth Norton, one of the engineers over at Station 2, which is 3rd West, 3rd North. Just give you a quick snapshot of what's going on at the fire department and then field any questions. Just throwing it out there though, we don't always have the answers. Most answers to questions can be found at slcfire.gov in terms of fire restrictions and what's happening with the fire department. We still are in a stage 2 fire ban, and fireworks and open fires are illegal through July 22nd. And what they're going to do after that, I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine. For the month of June, we did run about 1,600 fire calls, and about 75% of the actual fire calls we ran on were human calls. So turns out we are still the culprits, and fire prevention is working hard to mitigate those. And then we ran about 3,400 medical calls for the month of June. Wildland interface is still the hot topic as we continue through a historically dry year. Things that Salt Lake City Fire Department is doing to help mitigate and be dynamic in our role here to serve our citizens is we are doing wildland upstaffing. So you may see additional smaller apparatus. These are type 6 apparatus, so it's a smaller truck that's staffed usually with 2 people. So on any red flag warning days, which is a mixture of humidity, temperature, and wind, you will see additional units in the streets that can just help pick up smaller grass fires and hopefully mitigate the accident or incident quicker. We also have those on like July 4th. You may have seen those out and about, and also we will have those on July 24th as well, along with any of those red flag warning days. Things that we can do in this vicinity, if you haven't had a consultation in terms of defensible space, you can go ahead and get one of those. Again, going to slc.fire.gov is one of the best ways to get someone to come out and do a defensible space survey. Unfortunately, there's no reduction in insurance costs, but there are tremendous values in terms of mitigating a wildland fire that backs up to your property with those mitigations. Yeah, that's about it from where we're at. If there's any questions that I can answer, I'd love to do so. We appreciate you having us out here.
Why is it red?
Hello. Oh, yeah. My name is George. I live up in Columbus Street, and I actually had a meeting with the city council and some other people, land management, inclusive because of the fire we had up there, which is, I think, I lived there for 26 years. I think it's the 4th fire now. And my question is, in last I wanted to have the fire department come up actually in Columbus Street and show me where the fire break is, because there's supposed to be a fire break where the reservoir is between that and the residential areas, but there's no fire break. And I requested last year like a stone wall, nobody was listening to me. Now we have to speak fire, so my question is again, where's the fire break? So not only there, but also like going up to Columbus Court, there's no fire breaks, period. And my concern is that because of lack of this issue, I mean, it's compliant with it, that we will have a fire and it will jump the street and we have a big fire in the whole neighborhood. So I would like to have the fire department come out there, take a look, and then find out what can be done. They finally came up and cut the tall dry grass down again, which I always have to call them every year, which is ridiculous. But it's a very, very big concern because we're very lucky so far that nobody got hurt or killed We had very, very close calls, especially the one in 2019, which actually scorched some outsides of buildings. No, I've seen it. I actually was the one who called it in. I called 911 when it started. And they also never investigated it, how it started. I showed them proof how it started. They wouldn't listen to me. So I'm having a hard time with the fire department, actually, to be more involved with the community, but also take a look at that. It's a very serious issue up there.
Yeah, thank you for that. I understand and can empathize with you. Sounds like it's a frustrating matter. Unfortunately, that is high above my pay grade, but I would encourage you to reach out again and express your concern. I wish I had a cut and dry, quick solution for you, sir. Unfortunately, I don't. That's above my pay grade. But I would reach out again and again vocalize what you have and request for a fire crew to come out to your address along with maybe one of our wildland interface personnel who can better address your concerns and situation. That would be my best course of action. And maybe ask for a guy named Scott Haney. He's a firefighter who has a long wildland background, and it seems like this would be up his alley. So as you communicate with them, reach out and ask specifically for Scott Haney. And yeah, I'm sorry that this issue wasn't resolved for you.
I had land management up there. I was still moving wide.
Yeah. Any other questions for us? All right, thank you all. Appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you so much.
All right, I think we are going to get to the special election, but then we're going to do the yeah, we're going to do Detective Stewart first. And then we'll release our local leaders. So I think I'm going to share that really quick. Yes. One moment, please. Click share. You are just sometimes not what I want you to be. Yeah. That is a failure that I've not seen before. Well, we're going to be able to hear you, Detective Stewart, but I don't quite have you shared.
Can everyone hear me?
Yes, and
If you can hear me, that's probably better than the vision of me on this. Oh, there you go. Something's happening.
all right, there we go. Gosh, sometimes. Sorry about that. Okay, you are shared.
Okay, perfect. So much better. Me on the screen. That's great. Hello, everyone. I'm so happy to be here, virtually, in person, in every instance. I love this neighborhood. I love the Capitol Hill neighborhood. I've been a liaison for the police department and districts 3 and 4 for the last 3.5 years, and really have developed so many relationships with people who have lived in these districts. And I take a lot of pride in the projects that we put together to reduce crime, in the concerns of the residents who live in Salt Lake City. Recently, a big conversation has been noise, i.e. mufflers, and speeding in the Capitol Hill and Greater Avenues area. Our new DC, well, I guess it's not new so much anymore, but our deputy chief Brandon Christiansen is incredibly involved. I mean, the leadership that we have at the police department is so encouraging right now to see not just the type of people that we have as our chief and our deputy chiefs, but the level of empathy and caring and for personal involvement that they take in their areas of responsibility. And Brandon Christiansen has just dived right into decades old issues that the neighborhoods have experienced, including speeding and loud mufflers and so on. And we're fighting the good fight on the Hill for the tools that we need to be able to combat. And it's a really exciting time for us in law enforcement to see a lot of our concerns voiced and heard for the first time in a very long time. So, as far as your crime statistics report, I'm going to turn it and then hope that this works. Yes. So, forgive me, but I have to hold you out to here to be able to see the data. So this month overall is we're down in every category except for larceny. There's a strange uptick in vehicle theft, and we have identified common suspects. The reason they're doing it is literally juveniles who are bored and joyriding, and that is the reason for. I mean, they're stealing cars and moving them from one location to the next without very much fanfare, but a huge inconvenience to the owners. So just even though it isn't the winter, which is usually the winter warning that I would give, it is specific to Hondas and Kias, and it's probably because they know how to start those vehicles without the key. So if you have an older model Honda or Kia, be cognizant that this is going on. Burglary, I mean, it's like 1.7 to 2 incidents in a month. It's very low, but everything else is down. Total overall down 12%. It's really, really good, really encouraging for the overall crime in the area. Huge goal and focus for the police department. I'm switching you. I hope that's okay. Is community involvement, bringing our neighbors together, breaking bread, and just talking. We have a coffee with the cop event tomorrow from 8:30 to 10 a.m. at Alpha Coffee, 111 South Main Street. Honestly, Alpha Coffee is right next to Central Police Station, and it's just a great event to come and meet police officers, voice your concerns. A lot of venting and questioning can be achieved and received by the police department. And so a great event tomorrow, Alpha Coffee, 8:30 to 10 a.m. It's approximately 111 South Main Street, which is the Goldman Sachs building. But realistically, it's in between States and Main on 100 South. Does anyone have any questions for me?
Yeah.
Many times I called into the police department. I even talked to one of the sergeants about the ongoing problems with four-wheelers, motorcycles, off-road bikes, all kinds of stuff, driving on the Jordan River Trail over there at the Cottonwood Park area. And I'm complaining about it for, I think, 3 years now, and it's still going on. Is there any plans to do something about it, to beef up the patrolling and start cracking down on that?
You have hit on a topic that is so, it's a thorn in my side. So I attempted to pull this group over just a bunch of kids on, camp bikes. They're unregistered, they're driving on the road, they're running red lights. We've had so many complaints all over the city. They flee, so they fled from me. And when that happens, now you've like really, really pissed off the person you didn't want to piss off. So I'm planning an operation with our motors division. We're getting our drones up in the air. We're following them home to mommy's house, and we're going to start cracking down on this whole group. We're going to impound their little bicycles, and we're hitting the trails because I know they've been going on the trail up there in the Greater Avenues area. They're just a menace, and their group is growing in size. So yeah, we are planning an operation, including helicopters. We're just throwing everything that we have at it. So great question. I if there's anything that bothers me more, it's disrespectful to like little punk kids. So you've hit the nail on the coffin there with that subject, and just know that we're planning something to really, hopefully, impound a lot of these bikes and put this operation together. So yeah, yeah. Absolutely, we're working on that. It'll be big, and it won't just be one time. We're putting it together until we hopefully nip the problem in the bud and teach them a lesson. So, yeah.
Are you making the parents accountable for that?
Question was, are you making the parents accountable for that?
Yeah, so with juveniles, when you arrest or cite or speak to a juvenile regarding a crime, their parents are called and they are present. And when you're under 18, your parents are responsible for the things that you do. Sucks to be a parent of a child that's doing that, but you have to pay the fines, you have to do everything. You're responsible for that. And that's how the law is written. It's written for a reason. And once you age out and you're 18 and above, which a lot of these kids are not, then we don't call your parents. But in this instance, there will be a lot of manpower involved in this operation. A lot of parents, because we will detain them, we'll confiscate their bikes, and we'll detain them until their parents show up or a responsible party. And if nobody shows up, we take them to juvie. It's a JRT, is a juvenile detention system. So, and they can't get out of there until their parents come to get them out. So 100% yes, their parents are notified. Sometimes it doesn't do a whole lot of good, but a lot of times it does. So yeah, that will be a big part of the operation. Great
All
question
right.
though. Yeah, anything else?
I'll step over here so you can see me. Thank you so much, Marie.
Thank you, everyone.
Look forward to you next time. All right, I'm gonna unpin this and unshare it. Our next item is the special election. I think we got basically as many people as we're gonna get. There are two codes on, actually, Jake, do you wanna intro this at all? Yeah. Chair, not supposed to be trying to, yeah.
So thank you, everyone. Welcome. My charge tonight is to run our special election for the board. This is an annual event, but because we've had some vacancies on our board, we opted as a body to have a special election tonight. So I just want to thank everyone for coming so we can make this happen. So thank you. I'll direct your attention to this slide. I'm very proud of it. I created it. And the QR code too. We'll see if it works. So that's good. All right, so this top QR code will take you to our official ballot. We're gonna ask everyone here to participate. And there will be some information on there as long as you live or work in our boundaries, you are eligible to participate. We do have two wonderful individuals that have stepped forward to express interest in joining the board, so they are listed. And then we have an opportunity to write in candidates. So if you join here tonight and you feel the need or want, and we are very hopeful that you want to participate, you can write a name in up to 13 vacancies we can fill. So yes, Jonathan.
Becca, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yes. I would love one of our named candidates to stand and kind of introduce herself, and she's great and neat.
Hi, everyone. My name is Becca Krell. I am new to not just the neighborhood in Salt Lake, but new to Utah as of this year. And I moved out here with my Chihuahua and my remote job and a dream of living in a city in the mountains. And it's been an absolute delight. First time that I came out to visit Salt Lake was last Halloween and walked through all the neighborhoods. As soon as I walked through the Capitol Hill, Marmalade area, I was like, this is where I'm going to be living. I absolutely love it. So it's been a dream. I wanted to really throw myself into the community. So started an in-person job at Zions Bank about 2 months ago. So my day job is working as an HR benefits specialist there. And I'm just looking to get involved and help the community in any way that I can. And just excited to meet people, do what I can to improve anything. So thank you all for having me.
I asked her if there was more of her, because I think she's awesome. Probably just me.
Do you want to speak a couple words about Annie?
Yeah, is she, I was curious if she's on.
I didn't see
The
any.
other named candidate, thank you, Becca, appreciate it. The other named candidate is our, what am I saying? Annie Trujillo, sorry, I don't know where my brain goes. And she is wonderful. I've had an opportunity to meet her as well. She is not present, but she has expressed interest in joining the board, so she will be on the ballot. And maybe Jonathan can speak to.
She is chair of our events committee and has been just like charging on that, and a great ringleader. So we've been really enjoying working with her. And so I think she's on a month-long like kind of road trip, having fun thing. So I'm sure she was hoping to join, but sometimes it just doesn't always happen as someone who's traveled remotely before. So that's kind of information on our two candidates. Does anyone else want to speak to Annie? You can vote for up to 13 people because the board has 17 slots. And if you do the math, that's how many people you can vote for. We could probably list write-ins. Please vote for people because we need board members.
So I'll just say that like, if there's folks that have it on their hearts to like be on the list, you should probably speak up because you do have to receive a majority of votes cast to be elected. It's not just people that's names show up on the ballot. Anyway, don't know if that's people's vibe, but if you actually want a chance of being elected and you're a write-in, you should announce your candidacy.
And you can do that right now. Oh, come now. All right. All right, so once you are done with the official ballot QR code,
Oh yeah.
so please vote. And once you're done with that, you're more than welcome to fill out our survey.
Yeah.
Because we'd also like to know if we're doing a good job.
Ballot. Now we'll let me go. Yeah. Can I cancel my ballot?
Can we give a paper ballot?
Do you want a paper ballot?
I think you need a paper ballot.
Paper ballot.
But also if someone else you would prefer to prevail, then.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
We do
So
have-
now we can all just stare at our black mirrors and fill out more forms. Yes. Does anyone have any questions? Perfect. I mean, we can close at in 30 minutes, something like that. No,
No, you should announce it as closed.
okay.
So that our.
Our recording secretary wants it to be proper, and that makes sense. Close it in 10 minutes. Okay, that QR code, which I think can be available somewhere over there, maybe.
Yeah, sure.
And the vote will close at 7:20. And that clock is, it is unacceptable. It is 7:11. I don't know what that is, 7:12 now. I guess. You know, it could be, it really could be. Okay, I think we can move to Alicia de León. Unless you guys can fight. Never mind. Oh, you guys get to look at my folder that's legal private. Yay. Love that. Here you go.
Thanks. That's okay. Chris Wharton, I'm a Salt Lake City Council member, and if you didn't see, I don't remember now if I tagged the community council on social or not, but I did submit a letter closing the arch and laying out what I consider to be the biggest terms, and then I know that the other letter is, what's the status there?
It is
Progress.
in progress.
Okay. Good. I just want to, I think now is like really our chance to effectuate some change. So if you haven't engaged on this issue with our state legislator and taken her survey, Jen Daly Provo, or written on yourself to the Capital Preservation Board, like now is really the time. And if we want to impact this in some way. So it is very urgent. The next thing that I'll say is on Monday, we are having a fire safety town hall about urban wildlife interface fires. The idea for which was at 2 meetings ago, I think, when the chief was here, or it might have been the last meeting actually. But so we'll have people from the police department talking about like how people are ticketed and how the law enforcement side is handled. We'll have people from, we'll have firefighters there talking about like broadly what the city is doing to manage fire safety risk or mitigate fire safety risk, and then what you can do individually. And we'll have some people from parks there. I'll be there. Alicia will be there, right?
Yeah.
Yes, okay, and so, yeah, it's gonna be great, and it's gonna be at the Avenues, at LDS Hospital Auditorium, so right on the border between the two community councils, and so I'm promoting it here and with Greater Avenues. We've also invited District 6, since that comprises all of the foothills between the two districts, so they might show up, but we want to have a strong District 3 showing, so please come if you can. And then the next update in terms of what the council is working on, now that we're through budget season, we go right into CIP, which is capital improvement projects. So we'll start considering our CIP projects at our next meeting. And that's always a good time, especially if this group wants to do a CIP project. It's great to tune in if you can and see our CIP discussions and kind of get an idea of how these decisions are made when CIP comes. You know, this group, this community council had a really successful CIP project about 6 years ago with the traffic calming. So I think we could do another one. I met with George over the last month. We talked about a possibility of a CIP project on Columbus Street that I think would be a good candidate. So if you want to talk more about that, either he or I would be happy to talk to you about how that went. And then let's see, what other news is there? I think those are the big ones. We are going to be pushing for another, hopefully, fireworks ban for 24th. We have to have another gubernatorial declaration, and then we have to have the state forester make a decision, and then we can do a citywide ban. But that is very much what we're in favor of. If you would like to engage on that issue, if you're just sitting around and you're like, man, I'd like to email another person after you've already completed your capital preservation board email, and you're like, that was exhilarating, give me more. Please consider emailing either the governor or our state legislators, particularly our state senator, Todd Weiler, who isn't here and doesn't frequently come to these meetings, that you do support a fireworks ban, because they, it was quite a lift, and it really is basically all of the cities in Utah begging the governor to make this declaration. And before he does it, he will call key senators and legislators and basically ask permission that they are not going to be mad at him, I guess, if he does. So please help them do the right thing and show that this is something that the public favors, that we don't see this as one legislator put an infringement on his right to run a fireworks stand and profit from that. So any other questions or any questions I can answer? Sorry, I'm like truth serum today. Okay. All right. Oh, Glenn.
Well, maybe this has been talked about enough, but I think a lot of us are concerned, thanks Jonathan, about the monument that's being proposed. What are more things that we as individuals can do? You mentioned the Jen Davy Provo survey. Jonathan, you referred me to that, but I clicked the link on our website. Is that her survey or ours? Okay, that's hers. Okay, so I've done that, sounds like, all right, thank you.
Yeah.
But what more can be done that might help?
I mean, at this point, I can't really think of anything that would hurt. Like if you want to talk to other news outlets about it, if you have contacts that in the like on the statewide level, you want to reach out to Senator Weiler. I know he has not heard from a lot of people about it, but it is his district. So that would be another option to email him.
His district is,
Man.
wait, I'm talking about the monument.
Yes,
And so I thought that was Jennifer's district.
it is. She's our House member.
Oh, the senator.
The
Weiler.
senator,
Okay,
yeah, so he lives in
yes,
Woods
yes.
Cross, yeah. But that district comes down here, includes Capitol Hill and half of the avenues. So, and he has not heard from a lot of people about it. So don't just email our House member, email our senator. I will look up which Senate district number he is. 8. Thank you, 8. So yeah, please reach out to him. And then, yeah, I think it's an all kind of hands on deck situation. So, and if, especially if you're acting individually, like I would say, do whatever you think you can to help. So, thank you,
Thanks, Chris, for what you're doing.
thanks.
Yeah, I think Sandy will probably touch on that a little bit.
Okay, good, thanks.
Any other questions?
Trees, looking on, you know, about trees that are been on the, they put a whole bunch of trees along that little triangle.
Yeah, I mean, they're gonna have to take trees down. I don't know if they're gonna take those trees or what, but I put,
Brand new.
I know.
Yeah,
I put
so
it in my
the,
letter.
yeah, the cherry tree nursery is what they're calling it, and allegedly that's for replacing the trees that are around the oval when they need replacing from vandalism and stuff like this. I'm pretty sure that came from Dana Jones in our meeting. Who was there? Yes. That's how that was. And
Yeah, it's just, it's also frustrating though, because we wanted to have more input and more communication with the neighbors. And we did know that there was gonna be the model up there over the 4th of July weekend, but then there was this event, like sort of announcing it, which I think is bad, because it is kind of like, you know, a mission accomplished banner before we've even gotten there, and so that's why I think I'm just urging people, because I feel like that we're told on them.
So maybe this has already been discussed, but Stan Holmes, who was here, was talking about attacking it through traffic, as far as having to put a bridge over Main Street or a tunnel or anything like that, and the cost of that.
Yeah, I put that in my letter too, that the lack of parking, people are gonna be parking in creative ways. And that can be a public safety issue because it usually means that they're gonna be running across streets, and when there's too much parking, it's hard to see people, especially on hills, all of that stuff I put in. I think we're just also asking for like vandalism, and it's kind of an attractive nuisance at, you know, in the off hours, I guess. So op-eds too, if somebody wanted to do like letters to the newspapers, that would be cool. So yeah, for more strategies, hit me up later. Yes.
If there's time, I'm curious why there's in such a hurry to close this off. Was it Sunday, a few days ago, when they had this meeting you just referred to? Monday, I heard from someone that it was Sunday, it doesn't matter. But I thought it was going to be some kind of a open house, as you were suggesting. But was it that, more of an announcement that this is what's happening? Mission accomplished kind of?
I was not invited to that event, but my impression is yes. So
What's going on? Why are they not open to public input and trying to hurry and wrap it up and be done with it? That's what it seems like is going on here. Do you have a sense for why?
I really don't, actually, and that's part of the problem. So, thanks.
Yay. Thank you, Chris. Yeah.
Great job, Chris.
Okay, Alicia. How do you, yeah.
Or unless you want me to do that. I can do it as well.
I'm happy to do it.
Okay, thanks. Hello, everyone. My name is Alicia. I'm your community liaison to the mayor's office. Before the slides begin, I would like to comment on behalf of the mayor's office in regards to the GLAM proposal. Our office is not involved in the decision-making of this proposal. We are not in discussions about this proposal, and whatever was stated in the Tribune that the mayor mentioned is not verifiable. So I would question what is mentioned in that article. If you have any comments, questions, concerns, or petitions for the mayor, please do so now. Share now with me, please. So I can share that with her. And her, yes, and her senior staff concerning GLAM. Yes, I will tell her that.
She's doing anything they can to help intervene so that the public has more opportunity to participate in the process.
Yes.
That's the one thing, I agree 100%.
There's one thing I can say with exactly that. The fact that there hasn't been adequate public input. The idea that this is for the people of the state of Utah and that the people aren't involved in that process is absurd. I think it's just the worst possible approach they could have taken. They cut out people from the process, and that one thing all by itself is the one reason to hold off on it and do what they should have done months ago. Is to let the people vote on 4 or 5 different options, but that was never an option for the people of the state of Utah. I love, in fact, the way that Dana Jones often, and others there often talk about the people's house, the Capitol building. And they're very open and people are invited and they do a great job. But on this, they've done just the opposite. It's not the people's statue. It's Governor Cox's, I guess. Or maybe, who was it that inspired the artist? God, I think, inspired the artist to do this and bring it to Utah. That's what the artist told us at a meeting 2 months ago. So, I don't know, it's just weird to me. So, I don't know, I'm not a bit of a soapbox now, but I'm trying to motivate all of you to jump in and, again, that's almost the most important thing. And that's what the parameter request is for, is to kind of promote that notion that, hey, we weren't involved in this.
So the first comment is that this proposal sucks. And I've heard 2 comments saying that you would like for the mayor to advocate for public input.
Yeah.
Yes, okay, great. Do you have?
One, I would say it's very offensive. We don't even talk about the topics on what's represented there. And then the issue of the traffic, people crossing the road, visitors aren't gonna go over there. But if they did, it's a big issue. But they have to put some kind of a statue on them and put them on the grounds where people and the visitors are already going around.
So the additional comment is that the themes on that monument is problematic and there's no room for discussion at the moment. Traffic will be an issue. Visitors will hardly go there. What else did you add to that comment?
That if they do go there, crossing the road is going to be problematic because it's a very busy street.
Okay, thank you.
I think some of the stuff that I've heard, just personally talking to my neighbors, because Jason and I live on 6 West, we're not that far from the Capitol, but we are a bit, but it's interesting how this topic has even made it that into Guadalupe. And it's more of the topic of why do we feel the need to take open space and put something there? Like if it's an open park, it should just remain as is. And I think in terms of the city's goals, from what I've understood, Mayor Mendenhall's goals are to promote open space, plant trees, clean the air, that kind of thing. This definitely goes against the city's priorities, in my view. And so, and again, I don't think people are opposed to a monument. I just think that this particular monument and where it's located is troublesome for a lot of people. At least that's what I've heard.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We'll emphasize green space remains an important, very important amenity for us all. And it also aligns with the mayor's vision. Okay.
Yeah.
I would say to me, it's concerning that I mean, public process aside, like that there are options that have been like vetted as a large monument for the Capitol grounds, and I had 2 finalists that were set aside. And like those 2 finalists, I do think like, I mean, they've been through a process, and I frankly think that they're closer to what I would imagine would unite Utahns and be worthy of this sort of inclusion in a place of prominence. Those being a Golden Spike monument and a monument about women's suffrage in Utah. And so to see what I think are like actually pretty good ideas set aside for something that, again, as folks have mentioned, like has racist elements in it and other aspects that are more divisive than unifying, is really frustrating to see. And I would, to the extent it's possible, like to see those with more power, more megaphone than we have. I know that the tension between the city and the state is something to be navigated delicately, and I'll leave that to the people who know it better than I do. But I do think that neighbors would love to have someone in their corner to the extent that's possible, strategic, whatever.
Thank you.
I'll tie together these two comments and just say specifically with, so one of the proposals was about women in voting. And then when you look at this arch, women's roles are to have babies, to be a symbolic representation of something, and to hold up flags. These are the only things apparently that women have done in the last 250 years. And it's of course a monument that isn't actually about Utah. So I think that's one of the issues, but then also tying together all of the people of color that are represented on the current whatever are men, and all of the representations of women are white. So it is as if women of color don't exist and or have not contributed anything to our country in the past 250 years. So like talking about the content of it, it's just like exceptionally offensive. And so with all this discussion of like, we need something to bring us together, the combination of the content being actually downright disrespectful to the majority of people in our country, because if you add up women and people of color, we are the majority. But then in addition to that, that there's no public process, that they seem to be trying to avoid public comment or public participation, and that they've just totally disregarded that there was a process to vet. Like those three things together are just so clearly evidence that their claims that it's about the people and bringing people together and whatever. It's just so very clear that that is not the case.
Thank you. I'm hearing a lot of discrepancies in your thought process in terms of the selection process, the representation, the opening it up to public comment, so many things. So thank you. I will take that back to the mayor and contact Jonathan in terms of what our office has to offer in terms of the responses.
Yeah, we'll also have minutes and all that, and so we'll be able to tabulate the concerns.
Okay, we can move on.
Sure.
So, and you all can talk to me after the meeting's over. I just want to be conscious about the time for other presenters. So the city's supporting Councilman Wharton in this town hall meeting for next Monday. Please bring your neighbors. There are cool zone locations that you all should be aware of in case you have a neighbor that would benefit in going into one of the cool zones. That is, I'm not sure what I put there, but that's the website that you can go check out what locations are available. And as always, libraries are included in these cool zones, senior centers, and homeless service providers.
It's a cool map.
Thank you for bringing that up. So, Planning Division, their news is that we want to make the city a better place for families with children. Our goal is to help households with kids stay in Salt Lake City and attract more families to move here. We are researching what makes the city work well for children. That includes housing types, street designs, parks, and green spaces. Each of these elements shape how children and their caregivers experience the city. Well-designed neighborhoods help people of all ages feel safe, happy, healthy, and independent. So your feedback is very extremely helpful. And so those QR codes can lead you to the website. The survey ends or closes August 1st. Planning told me that this will be their first opening for feedback for the public. And so after we receive the feedback, they're gonna draw a draft for this proposal for this initiative called Building the Village. And then they will do more community outreach further in the fall. So if you're able to participate before or by August 1st, it'd be much appreciated. So Salt Lake City's popular 9-line corridor and future fleet block open space are going to get a lot greener and cooler for the thousands of residents who use the urban trail and live nearby, thanks to the 11.5 million in grants secured from the Bezos Earth Fund's Green American Cities Initiative. Salt Lake City is one of 8 U.S. cities to receive grant funding in 2026 from the program. With a 9.5 million grant, Salt Lake City aims to make the trail more usable for pedestrians, cyclists, scooter riders, and bus passengers by converting the 9.5 block, which is 1.7 miles of gravel park strip, into green ribbons planted with 285 trees and 350 water-wise shrubs that will add shade, cool the air, and improve the air quality. That was posted this week. Improvements will include water smart drip irrigation, new soil benches, tables, wayfinding, and placemaking elements that beautify the popular urban corridor. If you have any feedback on that, please email me or reach out to our office. We're gonna pass that one. Okay. So your water bill is going to have a change in August. I just want to remind you that there is a rate calculator at that link, and you can scan that QR code. And the tool gives you an idea of the proposed water and sewer costs. It's meant to help you get a general idea of your bill, but the estimate will not be exact. You'll need to know your service line size, your typical monthly water use, basic details about your home. And the calculator only estimates water and sewer changes, does not include fixed fees for garbage, street lighting, or storm water. And the last piece of information to share is about water conservation resources. So there's the water maps. This is a tool that's online and it's free. And it helps residential water customers understand how efficiently they are watering their landscapes. Let's see. Public Utilities also offers drought-tolerant grass seed, and you can buy a rain barrel from the city. Now, at present, until the end of August, you all can benefit from getting a free water check from USU's Central for Water Efficient Landscaping. And they will help you make your irrigation system more efficient. So take advantage of that tool or that resource. And the last slide is my info. Any more comments or questions? And George, I took down your information. Definitely go to the town hall for Monday if you want to speak to someone in charge in fire, like upper management, about that. I can reach out to the fire department as well before Monday, so we'll see. And yes, any other comments?
George does have the comment. I can do that.
That's actually, I guess a question for the mayor is, the mayor is pushing this planting 1,000 trees a year. The problem I have is, number one, I estimated 20% of those newly planted trees are dying or dead. And we're talking to different departments. What they're telling me is that it's nice to plant all those trees, but the city does not provide some of the tools needed, but also the budget to actually take care of those trees.
Are those in public spaces?
Yes. And I'll give you a very good example, and you can check it out yourself if you want. In the Cottonwood Dog Park, Last year, they planted 10 trees, 4 trees a day. That's a 40%. And I have hundreds of pictures of trees on public land. I mean, just go out there off the building. There's 3 dead trees there. I talked about this years ago, that those trees are not taken care of, they're dying, nobody cares. So to me, you know, promoting green space and cool space and all this is fine, I'm for it, but talk is cheap, you know, put the money there, put the equipment there, put the people there, because in my opinion, it's a waste of tax money to plant all those trees only to let them die. And I see it all over the city. Matter of fact, today I went on State Street, they planted new trees there. They're not watered, they're almost dying now. I actually probably gonna get sued, but anyway, I grabbed the hose from that house and watered those trees, and then I called the forestry department too. And they said they will actually go there and send a note and leave a notice on the property to let them know they need to water trees. But this is just an example, but it's all over. I see it everywhere. I mean, I honestly, it's scary to see how many dead trees are right now on public land on the park strips. And so, yes, I like that she says they're gonna plant those trees, but you need to take care of it too.
I'll say I have 2 responses to that. That is a very important question or comment that you posed. Thank you for doing that. So in relation to that, if you all are interested in having the urban forestry department and staff come and speak to what they have in mind in terms of caring for those trees or why things happen, that they die off in public spaces, especially now that we're in drought 2, drought 2 conditions within Utah. Like what does the city plan on doing to continue maintaining our public trees, because they're so important? Okay, so that's the first one. So just a reminder, if you ever want a specific department to come and speak on a specific issue that's very important to you all, you can reach out to me to organize that or reach out directly to those departments. I'll get an answer to that. The second thing is there is a research group from the University of Utah, so a group of students from urban planning that are very interested in green canopy spaces throughout the city. So you would be a fantastic participant to inform them how they can inform policy in the state or in the city. So I wonder if you would be interested in collaborating with them or just talking to them. So that's what came to mind. But yes, I'll have that in the forefront for next month's discussions if I get a response. And maybe we could ask that during the town hall meeting as well on Monday. Yeah.
Yes.
Actually, it's just getting information. I talked to the fire department about this, and I called somebody at the city. They suggested calling the arborist. But really concerned about the water tank that's up by 5th North and East Capitol Boulevard. There's dry grass, there's dead trees hanging down. I walk my dog around there. Every day I find sparklers, cigarette butts, lighters, and they need to clean that up, and I'm not sure who I next should call.
What did you call it? A water what?
There's a water tank.
Yeah, it's good.
It's across the street from the Capitol, up north of it.
I'll give you my business card so you can call me or email me and report it so that I can funnel it to the right departments.
Talked to somebody, I don't remember who it was, and they said they talked to the water department, but the fire department seemed like the city was still having.
I talked to them once, and what I found is that the utility is in charge.
So what's very important for y'all to do is, 1, submit your complaints, concerns through the My SLC. Because then the city's documenting your concerns and there's like that's built and people in the city are following through that case. And if that case, it has no follow through, then it's elevated to our office, and then whoever's district falls on into, then we start taking care of it and start, addressing it. So if you don't do it that way through my SLC, then you can submit it through mayor's at, I think it's mayor's office or mayor@slc.gov, and it creates a case. And so then our office funnels it to a community liaison, and then we funnel it to the departments, and we track how, things are addressed or who's, close it out. So it's important for us to track. So please report it. Yes. Okay. But I'll take note of it. Yeah.
Awesome, thank you. And I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much. Alicia, I think the next is Tip, at last.
Told you I'd be back.
Thanks, Daniel.
Hello again. For anyone who maybe wasn't here earlier, I'm Samuel. I'm the chair of the Transportation Infrastructure and Planning Committee, also known as TIP. We are a committee of individuals who talk about and try to take action on things related to transportation infrastructure and planning in our community. There are a couple of opportunities for, well, first of all, actually, if you ever want to talk to us, reach out to that email. We're happy to receive any ideas, thoughts, concerns that you might have that you'd like us to talk about and potentially elevate to the relevant city or county or whoever it is departments. So always happy to hear from you in that regard. Or if you want to get involved on the committee, if you'd like to be a part of those discussions and help us respond to things, you can reach out to that email as well. It's tip@caphelslc.org. Moving on to the current public input opportunities that we've been made aware of and we'd like you to be aware of as well. First one is for the Hillside Avenue new construction and major alteration at approximately 56 and 58 East Hillside Avenue. So that was presented on at our last neighborhood council meeting. There is a property up there that has a rundown house in the back that Garvin Homes is looking to build new apartments on. If you go to that QR code or that link, you can kind of see what it looks like. I think at our last meeting, if I remember correctly, there was a little bit of concern around like maybe it's out of character with the feel of that neighborhood. So I encourage you, if that's something that is important to you in terms of preserving kind of the historic feel of our neighborhood, maybe go take a look at that to figure out how you can provide comments if you're interested. That public comment period is open until next Thursday, July 23rd. The next thing I'm going to pull out my phone for, because I'm just going to read you what it says on the site, because this is one that I think is relatively straightforward, but also just want to make sure that you are aware of public input opportunities that are brought to our attention. So Mayor Aaron Mendenhall has initiated a petition at the request of the Planning Division to correct references in the land use table's qualifying provisions that were not properly updated to reflect the gas station standards adopted in January of 2025. This text amendment is intended to correct numbering, cross-reference, and clerical errors related to the gas station chapter 21. It will also address additional errors identified within that chapter that have resulted from the adoption of multiple overlapping ordinances. So basically, it's just a correction, trying to make sure everything's aligned, but they still have a public comment period. If you'd like to go learn about where gas stations are allowed, you can go there and look at the lovely tables that they're updating. That's your jam. And then the last thing, we've talked about this a lot, so I'm not going to harp on it too much, but Grand Liberty Arch Monument, the neighborhood council has set up a page for you of information about that project. So maybe you want to pull that up, Jonathan. But it does have it does have an image of the proposed location and what it might look like there. It has the form that Representative Jen Daly Provo has put together to collect feedback. It has a link to the meeting that the artist presented at to our neighborhood council. It's got the artist's website, a number of things there. So if you don't know anything about this is completely new to you, that's a good place to start. It's also got media links, all that. And if as I mentioned earlier, we have brought together a group of volunteers to execute on the actions that were adopted by the council at our last meeting. If you're interested in participating in that, feel free to reach out to the tip@capellslc.org email. We would love for you to participate, to help us out with that. Clearly, there are a lot of strong feelings from people, and we want to make sure that, and I would say the main crux of the things that we're doing are really focused on like making sure that the public has more opportunity to participate in this process because they haven't had that yet. So that's especially what we're focusing on in the short term in terms of the actions that were adopted by the council at our last meeting. But yeah, reach out if you want to get involved, if you want to help volunteer with that. I think that's all I have to say. Thank you. Actually, are there any questions before I finish? All right, now so thank you.
And we are 10 minutes early. Well, no, we're 5 minutes early. So is there anything that anyone would like to, yes, Jake, please tell us the results.
Before we all adjourn, we did have a successful election. I just wanted to read the tabulated results. For the two named individuals for the board, we had first of all, in 17 votes cast, 9 of those to make majority. Of the 2 named candidates, both Annie Trujillo and Becca Krell received 17 votes and 16 votes respectively. So they are now duly elected to our board, and we welcome them with open arms and gracious attitude. We did have one write-in candidate, Grant Stevens, and he received 1 vote. So that's the results. Thank you.
Yeah, and in the last little bit here, does anyone have any business that they would like us to talk about later, next time, now? All right. I think we are adjourned.
Thank you.